So I want to thank you all for gracing this important event. The water sector as a whole is increasingly becoming of high value interest to our government. And I would like to begin tonight by contextualizing this increased interest. When we took over the administration of this country, we decided to focus our energies and synergies on the economic reform agenda. Aside from the obvious benefits, this was the most developed sector, and we had a clear vision as to the direction we wanted to steer the country. The economic reform embraced fiscal austerity that impacted on all other sectors, in particular the security sector. The security and justice sector reform was also born out of this need. Similarly, good governance, sharing revenue responsibilities, transfers and spending powers to carry out public functions with our federal member states also led to the linkage between economic reform agenda and the inclusive politics agenda. Our reform path has ultimately led us to service delivery. In order for us to sustain the benefits of our reforms, to grow our economy, to improve key sectors, and most importantly, to enhance government legitimacy, it is inevitable that we also give due attention to the reform of the social service sector. While this sector is wide and will require critical attention, whether it is in regard to education or health, I have zeroed on water as it unlocks the most potential in the immediate term. In order to fully appreciate how significant water is in Somalia's reform and resilience efforts, I present to you a brief background. First, out of Somalia's estimated population of 15 million roughly, only 24% of the population is able to access improved water sources, one of the lowest in the world. Interestingly, the estimated available water in the country is 14.7 trillion liters, while our natural withdrawal rate is estimated at 3.3 trillion liters. I'm sure the reasons are obvious to many here tonight, least of which is inadequate infrastructure and poor quality of water supply systems. But what is very clear is that water is not entirely scarce, but infrastructure, institutions, and systems are lacking. A joint study between the federal government of Somalia and the African Development Bank in 2014 identified the gaps in the water and sanitation sector as limited infrastructure and weak institutional capacity. The effects of water scarcity are felt in all aspects of the society. It is a major impediment to our economic growth and recovery initiatives, as it denies us the opportunity to maximize output in agriculture, business, and livestock. In the security domain, scarce resource repeatedly contributed to tensions and even violent confrontations among pastoralist communities, leading to an already fragile context even far more fragile. The severe and very difficult droughts that we face also make the victims susceptible to recruitment into violent and terrorist groups. Yet, millions of donor funds are annually spent on water resource interventions. Ladies and gentlemen and colleagues, excellencies, I would therefore like to thank today or tonight those here who have made substantial contributions to this sector and who are still trying to make a tangible impact. Today, We're here to debate the way forward with a vision that in the next 5 years, we should all try and plan to have a nation that is water sufficient and able to manage our water resources in 5 years. A more coordinated and joined-up approach to supporting this sector is urgently needed. My government has begun reaching out to the partners to establish a comprehensive national water resource strategy plan that will help in the promotion, planning, monitoring of the water sector. This strategic plan is a much-needed initiative and will strengthen coordination and provide a structure and priorities for a reformed water sector focused on needs and deliverables. The government will be relevant when it provides basic services such as access to clean and affordable water to its citizens. This will not only provide water for consumption, but also contribute to both economic reform and mitigate violent conflicts and impact the effects of the droughts we've been seeing over the past years. An investment in water is an investment in economic empowerment, safety for women and children, peace and stability in human rights, and confidence building towards state institutions. We are therefore asking tonight our partners and stakeholders to strive towards supporting our government in fulfilling this critical mandate. I am therefore here with you to kickstart this debate tonight, and I hope this debate in 5 years' time will give us a different Somalia on all aspects because of the strategy we will start debating tonight. Thank you.
Coal and by regions, and we hope that the experience we're gathering there can provide a concrete example for how the federal government's recovery and resilience framework can work. So we're working in that area, trying out new concepts in resilience and applying that and trying to learn. So we hope to be able to work together and learn together and then apply those concepts and lessons learned to other areas of the country. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank the U.S. for this. Save the children.
Your Excellency, Prime Minister Hassan Ali Khayre, Cabinet Ministers, Members of Parliament, other government officials, representatives of donors and embassies, UN agencies, and colleagues from the NGOs, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. The Prime Minister, His Excellency, the Prime Minister, and other speakers emphasized the significance of water. And I want to start with the Somali saying which says, Biyaha nolosha wa biyo. Life is water, and water is life. A wise man said long ago, if there is magic in this planet, it is contained in water. So I want to contribute to what has already been said in terms of the way forward and what needs to be done in the next 5 years, as the Prime Minister said. And I want to mention a few points about harvesting of rainwater for climate change adaptation and building of community resilience in Somalia. I'm not presenting a research paper or a technical concept note, but I want to remind ourselves what we already know in order to encourage ourselves to support the communities and the government in managing one of major natural resources in Somalia, which is water. Recurrent drought, displacement, rural-urban migration, poor infrastructure, poor rural asset base, and low literacy are major factors that contribute to vulnerability to shocks and high poverty levels in Somalia. In order to reduce vulnerability and achieve sustainable economic growth, multi-sector and integrated approach is necessary to provide comprehensive resilience package for communities. There is a need to put more emphasis on not only household livelihood support and income generating activities, but also the basic services required for human capital development, including clean water, health, and education. This will only be possible if we are able to manage water resources correctly and use wisely. The economic growth of any given community heavily depends on proper management of its natural resources, and water is one major resource that can transform the lives of the people in Somalia if managed very well. Therefore, strategic use of scarce water, including watershed management and harvesting of rainwater, is vital for resilience building and sustainable economic development. Rainfall is low and erratic in Somalia, but sometimes it rains heavily, and it is estimated that Somalia receives approximately 200 cubic meters of rainwater annually. Regardless of the amount of rain and water received, rainwaters are not captured, and huge amounts of water are wasted every rainy season through seasonal rivers and streams that take water to the sea. Also, it's believed that evapotranspiration is greater than rainfall in the entire country. Experts estimate that Somalia is among 13 African countries that will face serious water scarcity by 2025 because of poor water infrastructure. A country is said to be water scarce when its annual per capita water availability falls beyond 1,000 cubic meters. And Somalia is believed already to have less than 500 cubic meters per year. This was mentioned UNECA report in 2020. Despite all challenges, Somalia still has potential to have a significant amount of rainwater using appropriate technology in areas where considerable runoff is generated. Rainwater harvesting would contribute to mitigating the effect of drought as well as floods, thus enabling community to invest in livelihood activities. The twin challenges of drought and floods, as already mentioned, can be mitigated by constructing huge water reservoirs and dams to store flash flood water that can be used during the dry periods for irrigation, livestock, and domestic use. Rainwater harvesting is the best option to use water runoff in better way by capturing and storing when rainwater is abundant. Currently, the human population and livestock in most of the drought-prone areas in Somalia depend on surface water harvesting structures such as small ponds and buckets. These usually dry up quickly, resulting in serious shortage of water, which sometimes causes loss of livestock and human life. Also, water in these reservoirs are usually polluted with organic matters, silt, and sometimes human waste and garbage. Other commonly used water sources in dry lands are boreholes for both livestock and domestic use. Boreholes also dry up or collapse, sometimes because of overutilization. Drilling of many boreholes is not good for the environment in the long term. Boreholes have two negative impacts in the environment. One, they deplete the underground water quickly, and they cause soil erosion and deforestation, hence environmental degradation. Rainwater harvesting through construction of big dams will enrich underground water, and it helps food production, prevents deforestation, and complements the use of other water resources. Rainwater harvesting will therefore mitigate the devastating effect of climate change, and harvesting rainwater requires significant investment, and international community should support Somalia government and its communities. This endeavor is in line with the Somalia government's commitment on climate change adaptation and resilience as stipulated in the mutual accountability framework.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We only allow a few minutes before we conclude, so I would request you to conclude if you can, 30 seconds.
Yeah, I just want to say lastly, we as partners of Somalia government also commit to support the government in providing both technical and financial resources in exploiting, managing natural resources, including water harvesting. And I'm very happy to see the commitment from African Development, World Bank, and African Development Bank, World Bank, and other donors to support this. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much to Save the Children. Final comments from the League of Arab States, very briefly before we conclude.
Thank you, Excellency. Excellency Prime Minister of Somalia, thank you for convening this important gathering and for inviting the League of Arab States to take part in this gathering. Indeed, the information shared by the interlocutors, both from the federal government side as well as international partners, are of high value for any international strategy to assist water sector in Somalia. I hope future events regarding the Partners Forum include also always an event on the water resources, since it was rightly said that water defines the future of peace and security and development in Somalia and even in the whole of Africa. Excellency, I have the honor to inform that the League of Arab States is in full readiness to sign an agreement on Somali Water Technical Assistance Program with the federal government of Somalia. This agreement that was presented to the League by your government a year ago is now ready and cleared for signature. The purpose of the agreement is to provide a framework of cooperation and technical assistance between Somalia, the League of Arab States, and the Water Council, the Arab Water Council, in one, establishing a national water management authority in Somalia, two, implementing the Mogadishu 2030 integrated urban water management strategic vision, three, national integrated water resources management for Somalia. The exact dates of the signature were discussed earlier today with Her Excellency the Minister of Energy and Water. I have to add that another agreement is ready to be signed also between the federal government of Somalia and the Arab Organization for Agricultural Development, as well as the League of Arab States, related to harvesting drain and flows water for supplement and irrigation and availing drinking water for livestock. Thank you, Excellency.
China.
Okay, thank you, Excellency. Your Excellency, Premier Minister, I have honor to attend this evening meeting. This meeting is very important. So, first of all, water is very important to human beings. And without water, human beings cannot survive. This is a simple reason. So because of impact of climate change, drought and lack of rain in Somalia, agricultural production and livestock are seriously affected. So how to solve a problem of water is nothing but rain, well drilling, and desalination. Of course, the desalination is high, is very high.
That we've said in this country, we've been in many years between hope and despair. More hope so now than it has ever been. It's my argument. It is said here now, we have these cycles